Good morning, Green Phonics Group. Well, as you can see on screen, I have a recap on screen to start with again today. So there are 6 sounds on screen that we learnt last term. So let's see how quickly you can shout them out at the screen to me. Now I'm going to point to a sound. I'd like you to say that sound out loud, and then I'm going to count in my head to 3, and then I'm going to say the sound. See if you can beat me with each of the sounds, and obviously I want you to get them right. So let's look at the first one. That sound is yaw. And the next. Shh. And the next. And the next. E. And the last one. I. How did you do? Firstly, did you get them all correct? And secondly, did you beat me? If you did, that means you really know those sounds now, so well done. If you didn't get them all right, take a look at the ones you found tricky, rewind me if you need to, and try and remember for next time. Okay, so today's sound. Remember, we're doing phase 5 sounds now, and I said that none of these sounds will be new. They will be different ways to write the same sounds you've already learned. So let's have a look at today's. Okay, do we know this sound already? Now this one does not make any of the sounds that we have on screen today. This one makes the same sound as, I'm going to write it on here. Are you ready? Makes the same sound as our single letter W. It makes the w sound. So even though there's an H with this one, the H is silent, we don't hear it. So sometimes when we hear a sound in words, we'll actually be using a W and an H, a digraph instead of a single sound. So this combination, the W and the H together, make the W sound. Okay, let's have a look at some words to read. So on screen, we have 3 words with today's sound in. You notice it's at the beginning. It tends to be at the beginning of lots of words when we write the sound. But don't make the mistake of writing every word from now on with that sound in, because not all words do. It's just some, and we just have to get used to which ones they are. So you know the MO here now. I'd like you to sound out these words, figure out what they say, and come back to me when you're ready to see how you've done. Okay, are we ready? Let's have a look at the first one then. So let's put our sound buttons on. I think we'll go black. There we go. So we have our digraph sound. Ooh, that's a very strange straight line today, isn't it? I, f. We've got 2 F's together, so we don't have to go f, f. We just make the one sound, the one f sound, don't we? So let's try it. Ooh, I, f, wi, whiff. Whiff. Ooh, a smell, a whiff. Well done if you got that one. Let's try the next one. So we have our digraph. Ooh, we've got another digraph and a single sound. So let's try this one. Wa-e-ul. Wa-e, wa-eel. Wheel. Did you get that one? And this is our trickiest one because this is the longest one that we've got. So we have our digraph, then we have some single sounds, and another digraph at the end. So should we try that one? Let's build it from the front. Wa-i, wi, whim, wimp, whimper, whimper. So to whimper, a dog might whimper, make a sad little noise. Did you get that one? If you got whimper, well done. That's a good one to sound out. Congratulations. Right, let's move on to our spelling for today then. So we have 4 words to spell. You know what we're going to do now. You need your pen and paper, and I will say a sound, pause me, come back to me when you're ready, and let's see how you did. So the first word is when. When. Have a go at that one. Right, so let's take a look. Not too many sounds in when. We've got w, e, n. When. So our question word, when, starts with a w. Okay, let's have a look at the next one. The next one is whip. Whip. Let's take a look, see how you did. So again, we've got whip. And finally, our last normal word is whisk. Whisk. Right, let's take a look at whisk. So whisk. And did you put that kicking on the end? If you put a curly cut on the end, by now we shouldn't be doing that because we've talked and talked and talked about the fact that normally when a word ends in k, it's going to be that kicking k that's right at the end of that word. So I really hope that you put a kicking k at the end of that one. Okay, so now we have a character again. So she doesn't look very happy, this lady, does she? Her name is Mrs. Whitford. Mrs. Whitford. So Mrs. Whitford, have a go. Right, are you ready? So the first challenge was, did you get Mrs. right? So let's have a look. Did you spell Mrs. right? So MRS is our abbreviation for Mrs., isn't it? And Whitford. Did you get that? And did you put the capital letters because it's a proper noun? It's a name, isn't it? Mrs. Whitford is a name, so we have to make sure we write it in capitals. Well done if you did. Okay, so let's have a look at our task for today. So our task today is about Mrs. Whitford, and it's about some questions that we'd like her to answer. Okay, now around her, you can see lots and lots of different words, most of them beginning with the, so our sound for today, our digraph for today, but a lot of them are question words, and they're words that we really need to know how to spell. Now let's have a look at them and see if we can read them. Some of them will be easy to read and some of them are tricky and we just need to know them. So let's go around. Now this one, there's no way if you didn't know what this word was that you'd be able to read it because it doesn't start with the sound. Even though it's written this way, this word is who. Who. So take a look at that one now because you're going to need these words later. Who. This next one does start with the sound, but it's where. So again, not that easy to read. So another one you really need to take a look at now before we move on. Next one is why. Now, we know that a Y on the end of a short letter sometimes does make the I sound, like in my and by. So this one is why, another one of our question words. And if we go up here, another one that doesn't quite sound right. This one is what. So it's not what, it's what. So can you see lots of these are quite tricky and we need to learn how to spell them. This one's okay. We did this one earlier. When. We can sound this one out. When. We just need to remember it's the WH rather than just a W for that sound. And we can sound this one out as well. Which. Which. Now, that's not which with a pointy hat. That's which as in the question. Which way do I need to turn? That kind of thing. Which. And then down here, it's not one of our WH words, but because it's a good question word, I put it on as well. And that's how. We can sound that one. How. So you can see a lot of these you need to learn how to spell because you can't just use your phonics to work them out. There's really only 3 of these question words that you can do purely by phonics. The rest you need to know. So take a while, pause me on screen, write these words down, practice writing and reading them so that you are ready for the task that's to come. Okay, so I'm going to move to today's task and I'm also going to vanish off screen so that you can see the task properly. So on the screen we have Mrs. Whitford and Mrs. Whitford has been answering questions. Now on the screen you will see her answers. This is what she said when she was asked a question. Your job is to read what she said. You can read all these now because they all have sounds in that you know. And once you've read what she said, I'd like you to write me the question that that you think she was asked to give that answer? So I am going to read the first one with you. It's the only one I'm going to read so that you can see how we're going to do this. So let's have a look at this one. I am called Janet. I'm called Janet. What kind of question could have she been asked to answer with I am called Janet? She could have been asked, what are you called? Couldn't she? What's your name? Probably started with what, I think, which is one of our question words, isn't it? So each one of these will have a question, and you need to design the question that goes with each of these answers. Now, there are, let's have a look, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There are 9 answers here, so you need to write 9 questions, 1 question for each answer. What do you think she was asked to give the answer that she's written? So you have to read her answers, then you have to think, what question was she asked? And then you have to write the question. Now, I would like at least one of each of these answers to have a question that begins with who, what, when, where, why, which, or how. So you have got 7 different question words. I want to make sure that each one of these question words is used at least once in the questions that you ask. So I don't want you using the same question word over and over again. I'd like you to practice all 7 of the question words. I can use other words as questions, but I would like to see at least one of each of the question words that we looked at on the previous page. So have a think. This is an interesting one because you've got to read her answer and think, what could we have been asking her? And then write the question. Have fun with this one, and I'll see you again soon. Bye for now.